You know, I was telling Mr. Biyani that we don't need any fire in the chat because ye hain to pura fire hoga. And I've told him, please restrain yourself. Uh, but before we do that, you know, sincerely, I think all of us in this room would have felt very proud for all the entrepreneurs who came and presented. It's no, you know, when you come on stage or pura light hota hai, then you get nervous. And still they have come and presented on time. और बहुत प्रैक्टिस किया इन्होंने. So जो तालियां बजी वो ज़बरदस्त नहीं थी. So please, for all the Tech 30 companies, दिल से ताली बजाते हैं, right? Thank you so much to all the companies. Yes, thank you. Now, Mr. Biyani, you're in the hot seat. So my first question to you, and I can't spare you on this, is that आप इतने एंटी स्टार्टअप्स क्यों हैं? इतने बड़े-बड़े स्टेटमेंट्स देते हैं. क्या है आपको खुंदस?
I'm not at all anti-startup because if you look at it from a perspective, I might be the largest investor in startups today also.
That's
I
true.
invested in many startups. We have created a food park wherein we are asking all the young entrepreneurs to come in a food park and we are taking 50% equity in whatever they are putting up. We have created a confederation of entrepreneurs in the organization, Holacracy as a concept, and we have already 12 entrepreneurs working on various brands with us. We invested more than 26 companies. So for me, I think startups have to succeed.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing. There is a law called the Sturgeon's law, which says that 90% of whatever we do in this world, including me, is all nonsense. So I think that's normal, but I have a view that startups should be at least 30% successful. And we need to work towards it. They have to think big. They have to look at the canvas in a different way. They have to do value addition in the economy, then only one can make money. Today, people are looking at building up businesses to sell. I'm told your theme is also to exit. I think businesses are created for perpetuity.
Yes.
And I think once you start approaching a business to exit, you can't create something. I think there is no better joy than creation. We have created so many brands, so many formats, so many concepts. So I think the joy of creation is fantastic for us. I don't think so there's any better joy. So in fact, there was a question asked to me in a particular forum whether startups will be able to create jobs for India. And India produces 2 crore babies every year. So we have 2 crore people who want jobs in this country.
Yeah.
And whether startups can create jobs. I said, startups can't create jobs. They are nonsense. I think that's what got interpreted. So that doesn't mean we don't like startups. We want startups to succeed. We want startups to create jobs. We want startups to drive the economy. We want startups to build economic growth for this country.
Thank you. You know, so today I also learned, I knew that Mr. Biyani makes investments in startups, but what I learned today is that he has made innumerable, many, and I can't remember all the names of investments in startups. So one thing, Mr. Biyani, before we proceed, आप यहाँ पे हैं, any startup that wants investment can reach out to you?
I don't understand technology. That's the problem. So for me, I think it's a product which I understand. I don't understand the aggregation models. I don't understand where there is no value creation. I don't understand that business.
E-commerce, you don't understand.
Anything which can't create economic activity and value, I don't understand. I was going through 2-3 presentations. I think they are great ideas, but ultimately every idea has to convert into economic activity. If you look at what is the role of technology, technology is to increase the capacity of human beings.
Yeah.
And technology does 3 things in my mind. It reduces space, reduces times, and creates social interaction.
Yeah.
And anything which falls under this, which can create an economic activity and create some value and create some revenue for the business, I would look at that business.
Okay, fine. How many of you are building businesses like that? बाकी नहीं कर रहे हैं क्या?
So it is maybe 10 out of how many people, I don't know.
The rest are shy right now.
Okay.
No, Mr. Biyani, one thing is, I have huge admiration, and I'm sure so does everyone in this room, because what you built, and to this generation, what you represent is that in India, you can build a brand. For me, and I'm sure for all of us, for the longest part, we have grown with Big Bazaar. We have grown with all the other brands that you've created. And it's not easy. Now, especially being an entrepreneur, I'm sure all of us realize कि वो खड़ा करना और इतने सालों तक चलाना is not easy. And you've done that. Tell us, and you are a very hands-on person, tell us what has these years mean and what does it mean to create a brand in India?
I think to build any business in India is challenging because I think the understanding of the market, the landscape, the size of the market, and it's all about anything which you create is like making a movie, Friday first show, first release, whether it works or not. So any product you make, any brand you make, once you launch it, how does the customer respond? So you have to understand India's diversity, its customer base. So it's a challenge always. And secondly, India is changing a lot. India is changing every 3 years, 5 years. And we have to keep track of the changes which are happening. So you have to be relevant always. So in a sense, India is a very different country, the most heterogeneous market in the world. We are a land of 7 major religions, 6,400 caste and subcaste, 29 states. We celebrate 72 major festivals and 1.25 billion people. It's a very complex country. So to understand India itself is a task.
Yeah.
And to keep on understanding it again and again is a job by itself. So we have now organized ourselves to understand India, we have made probably every mistake in the book. So for us, now we have that wisdom. And the wisdom says what not to do. And that what not to do is helping us now to do what we want to do. So we are still a startup. In fact, in the last 2 years, we have made more than 20 food brands in the country. We are now reorganizing ourselves as a FMCG and a consumer goods company. So I think it's joy in creating a lot.
Yes. But, I want you to go a little deep in terms of, did you think about that, hey, when you started that I have to build these large brands? What was your thinking and approach that helped create such large entities?
I think somehow when you start thinking too much, you're not able to do anything. So I think ignorance is the biggest virtue one has. Yeah. And I was ignorant. I was not an MBA. I didn't study in some great business school. And I passed out. I was a commerce graduate. I did my post-graduation, but I attended college only for 1 day. And still I cleared it. I think we've learned by doing, we have learned by reading, we have learned by meeting people, and we continue to do so. And I think life is the biggest teacher. Yeah. Nature is the biggest teacher, and people around you, you have to find your own inspiration. Yeah. And there are people who can inspire you. And I think they continue to inspire. Every year, you will find somebody who can inspire you to do something very different. So that's what we continue to do.
Yeah. Mr. Biyani, one thing which has been talked about a lot in media, and people say that you missed the technology bus. And I'm getting to your favorite topic now, is the e-commerce which happened.
I didn't miss it, in fact. I failed in it. Huh? I started in 2005-06, before Flipkart started. We used to do more revenues than Flipkart once upon a time. We had a great team. I think a lot of the team members have become investors themselves and been very successful in their life. Yes. But we were not able to create anything. We thought we'll try again. We attempted again. We again failed. We are attempting again. We bought a company called Fab Furnish, and we think we'll be successful this time. Somehow I believe if you look at e-commerce as a business, we have done some scenario planning. We are a company which does a lot of scenario planning. If you look at US, after 20 years of e-commerce, 92.7% business still is physical retail. Yeah. But who in India will do that physical retail if everybody wants to do e-commerce? There should be one person who should do physical retail also.
Coming to, we've been discussing over the last 1 day, yesterday, and we had investors, is 2 things. The whole narrative right now in our country, at least since the last 1.5 years, has been about funding. And second thing is valuation. Mr. Biyani, हम लोग को बहुत दुख होता है जब पढ़ते हैं कि 20 बिलियन, 15 बिलियन, इतने जल्दी लोग valuation बना ले रहे हैं. खुशी भी होती है, but दुख भी होता है कि हम छूट गए पीछे. क्या हुआ?
अब देखिए हमारे को कितना दुख होता है. हमारे को तो value नहीं मिल रहा है. So, I don't know, I remember a shairi, a poem, not a shairi, I don't know, a lot of people must have never heard a ghazal. It's about a PE investor. And a startup says, वक्त सारी दुनिया में 2 ही गुजरे हैं कठिन, एक तेरे आने के पहले, एक तेरे जाने के बाद.
Okay. But coming to the point is your perspective on most of us in this room aspire that we should also have a company which has high valuation, high benchmark, and we should get a lot of funding. Jiske chalte, there is a lot of unrest in our market, right? What do you have to say to
I somehow believe
entrepreneurs?
that you get valuation till the time the business is not understood of yours. The day people understand your business, you will never get valuation. And I have gone through that phase. And I think confuse people as much as you can. You will get valuations.
Give us some tips on how to confuse people.
Model बने ही नहीं कभी भी.
But do you see, so, so लेकिन आप बात की तह तक जाइए.
I'm not joking. This is very serious. Just to, I think if you understand a business model, how can you fund these models?
Could you please elaborate?
I think bring any model to me. I can tell you what is it all about. We understand e-commerce also as a model. 20% is the customer acquisition cost, 20% is fulfillment cost, 8% is technology cost, 48% is the cost of running business plus the office cost and the other cost. Which product gives you that kind of margin that you can never make money? हम लोग भी कोई चूड़ी पहन के तो नहीं आए ना, हम भी बिजनेस समझते हैं.
मिस्टर बियानी स्पार्क तो आप दे रहे हैं.
अभी आपको एक दूसरा बिजनेस मॉडल बताता हूँ. ये ग्रोसरी का डिलीवरी का मॉडल है. ओके. 15 किलो के ऊपर कोई डिलीवरी का आदमी उठा नहीं सकता है. 28 से 30 रुपया पर किलो की आइटम होती है इंडिया में. अब कोई भी साग सब्जी गेहूं चावल आटा ले लो, 15 किलो की वैल्यू कितनी हुई? 450 रुपया. डिलीवरी कॉस्ट कितना? मिनिमम 65 से 165 रुपया. व्हाट इज द डिलीवरी कॉस्ट? हमारे पास वो धंधे में मार्जिन ही नहीं है. तो वो एक डायलॉग था पिक्चर का, गोविंदा के पिक्चर का, वो गंगा नहाएगा क्या और निचोड़ेगा क्या.
I think we are all feeling very good now. Question to you. अभी मैं सोच रही हूँ आप मुझे कैसे निचोड़ेंगे, इसलिए मैं आपसे कुछ so many years being an entrepreneur, how do you retain this kind of enthusiasm, this kind of sense of humor? Because all of us in this room know that being an entrepreneur is fun, purposeful, but not easy at all. And you've been through lots and ups and downs.
I think the joy of creation is amazing. Today, this morning, we opened one store in Ghatkopar. It's called a Big Bazaar Gen Next store. We saw a lot of customers coming in. That's a joy of creation. Yesterday, we were having a review meeting and launch of so many FMCG brands we are building up. It's a great joy. I think once you start doing, building something, and you are employing people, you are having customers, I think that joy is unbelievable. And that keeps you going. And I think we've learned the hard way. And we have been lucky on many fronts.
Do you do self-reflection?
One of the core values of our group is introspection. Okay. In fact, a lot. And for us, that's the only way to be relevant.
Yeah, yeah.
And we believe that unless I'm not the same what I was maybe 20 years ago. But we have to keep on changing ourselves. And that's the most difficult part for a human being to change oneself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a tough task which you have learned.
What is it that you would say that, of course, you're saying constant evolution, but what is it that you would say, if you have to look back, is one thing you would have done differently in your journey?
I think I would have I made 2 movies and both were flops. I want to make a hit movie. Yeah.
You've started new brands. Your daughters have forayed into new brands, and these are very new age. One which I was talking to you about is Food Hall, is absolutely doing brilliant and a great brand in the current markets. How are you thinking about future? How are you planning towards future?
I think Future Group, because we have kept the name of the group Future Group because the future never comes. So always there's a future ahead. But for us, we want to create an organization. So we've created a very interesting organization design, which hovers around creation and control. Control is operations in a sense, somebody who runs the business. So creation is 0 to 1, and running the business is 1 to 100. So myself and my daughters and the family, we are more involved in 0 to 1, and 1 to 100 is run by professionals. So we love the joy of building businesses from 0 to 1. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Uh, so should we take questions from the audience? आप तो इतना खुश कर चुके हैं कि हम लोग सब बहुत ही thankful हैं. I'm sure all of us are thankful. And let's, if we could take questions from the audience. I think he deserves a big round of applause, right? Like I could say that you are the spark for our tech sparks today. And thank you for this authenticity and candidness. Could we have questions, please? And very quick, very fast. Yes.
Kishore sir, how are you? And Vishal here from YourStory. My question is, 5 years ago when we met, you spoke about Amritsar, now it had changed. Girls were wearing kurtis and jeans. How do you see consumption change over the next 5 years in this country?
What we do as an organization to understand the change, we run a center of memetics called, like there is a biological reproduction, which is called genetics. We look at the cultural reproduction, which is called memetics, and we observe the society. So every 6 months, we do a program called Bharat Darshan, wherein a lot of people from our organization stay put in a village, not a village, small town, for at least 15 to 20 days and see the change in the society. So we record the changes in the society. We record every lyrics which is written in the country. We try to understand and decode the society. And we always fear that we should not miss any trend. So that's what we keep on doing. So to predict what fashion will happen, it has a lot of global view in a sense. You can't, I think Indians can't make fashion sitting here alone. There is a whole global exposure which happens. We recently opened an office in London to design clothing. So I think we will have to take a global view when you are getting into Western women's fashion. But when you are getting into Indian ethnic wear, it's Indian inspiration in a sense. So it's a journey, which is a continuous journey. In fashion, we have to keep on changing much more faster than in any other business.
Sir, I'm Varun. I come from a traditional business class family doing a tech startup. So I can intermingle between both the thoughts of the traditional business class and the tech space. And I see this anti-tech view a lot in my home, so I could relate to that.
I don't have anti-tech views. Today,
Yeah.
I'm very savvy. I'm on Twitter. I follow all the news.
Like,
I can use a mobile phone.
not as a consumer, but pursuing tech businesses, as technology.
I believe that any business, there are a lot of technology-aided businesses which adds economic value.
Yeah,
So I'm not against anything. I think the world is not about this or that. The world is this and that both.
So
But what this and what that is more important here.
So you've been a role model. I wanted to ask you one question. Would have you invested in a company like WhatsApp, Facebook, or Google because they don't generate revenue when they begin?
I think they all generate revenues.
Now,
No, but I think somehow somebody must have understood. I don't belong to that world.
WhatsApp is not even generating
I'm saying that
revenue.
I don't belong to that world. And in life, it is not so important to know everything in life.
So that's what I'm saying. So the reason why I highlighted this because WhatsApp does not generate revenue even now. So
But
it
I
doesn't
think
make
it
sense
falls
for
into
you.
my definition of creating social interaction.
Yeah.
So when I said any technology which reduces space, which reduces time, creates social interaction, can be a business model.
Yeah.
I mentioned that, and it falls under that. If you look at WhatsApp, it falls under creating social interaction.
Okay. But you would not invest in that.
I don't know about that. Nobody came to me with an offer also.
Thank you, sir. You have always been a role model. And I just wanted to flag this because there may be a blind zone which you're not looking at. And I keep convincing my father on that, so I thought I will share that with you. Thank you.
So my question is, what are your views on businesses which are trying to create impact, which will in the future generate an economic activity?
I think somebody should have patience to invest for such a long time and wait for that to happen.
Okay.
I don't have that patience.
All right.
You mentioned about e-commerce businesses, and you clearly mentioned very easily that how the dynamics are not in favor. So my question is, what do you see in future? Flipkart, let's say, if I may name, Amazon, they are running on huge discount model, and gradually they are changing. So what will happen a couple of years from
Nobody
now?
to comment on anybody's business model, but I believe that there would be I think e-commerce can do something which we can't do as a physical retailer. There are three big strengths of e-commerce retailing. One is they can manage long tail. One is the velocity at which they do business is we can't even imagine or dream of. It's unbelievable. I think what velocity they can reach. And third is the geography they can reach, which we can't reach as a physical retailer. I think they have a disadvantage in terms of cost of doing business. And there are a lot of e-commerce companies in the world which are discovering a cost of doing business and building a business model. I believe a model like Paytm has a cost of acquiring customer which is probably the lowest out of all the players. So there would be a lot of models which will emerge wherein they will get some distinct advantages on the cost of doing business. In the long term, anybody will be the winner, will be the person who is operating at a lower cost.
Yeah. Before I close, I just wanted to dedicate one line to you and for everybody here. तू राह में सोता है और पल पल रोता है. तू राह में सोता है और पल पल रोता है. वो भी तो मुसाफिर है जो मंजिल पर पहुंचकर भी विश्राम नहीं करते.
Yes.
Yeah. This is Sudhir here. Quick question. I mean, for a startup like us, we have to choose between intellectual property and brand, right? If that's the situation, which one would you choose, and what really works on the longer term?
I think in a country like India, a brand has a lot of value. I don't understand IPR as much as what I understand brand. And for me, brand is a lot. Brand is a relationship with the customer, a consistency of a product, all the material and intangible benefits which that product gives you is a brand. And brand pays in the long term.
In the retail space specifically, what are some of the most pressing customer pain points that are happening right now that you think you're working towards fixing in the next couple of years?
I think we realized that one of the biggest pain points we had for our customers was checkouts. And so we created a very indigenous model of checkouts, of creating sit-down checkouts. And we have done that in now 3-4 stores, and it's an amazing response which we are getting. Like, we have created a business class lounge in our store. You sit, and we'll check it out for you.
Yeah.
And that's working very well for us. So it's an Indian innovation which has happened. I think this also happened, one of the evenings we got a jhatka of why can't we create sit-down checkouts in our stores. And we are implementing in every store.
Hello, sir. This is Agam Malvi. I am working in Reliance Industries Limited. I had a question regarding that. What is your worst failure experience across the journey of Future Group?
I think I have failed in multiple things.
The worst case.
I think I think there are worse and worst cases. Because I think my movies didn't work, which I produced. I went into gym business, which didn't work. I had a salon business, which we closed. We did so many business. We thought once upon a time we should now capture customer shopping wallet only, fully. We got into NBFC, we got into funding, we opened a real estate fund, we launched our private equity fund, we opened our NBFC, so we opened our insurance business. So I think any business on the consumer side, virtually I've done it. And everything failed except that I'm in food, fashion and home now. That's the only remaining business with me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, hi, this is Anu Acharya from Map My Genome. My question to you is, you mentioned that हमने तो चूड़ी नहीं पहन के रखी है, मैंने bracelet तो पहना है, लेकिन धंधा जरूर करते हैं. The second question I wanted to ask was, you mentioned genetics.
I think it was not meant, it was a very colloquial term anyway.
I think we need to change some of these colloquial terms.
We will change.
The other question I had, you mentioned genetics as being, that since you mentioned genetics, is that something you would be willing to put in your physical stores?
I think I'm not so smart enough still wearing my chudis in this case here.
Very good afternoon, sir. Sir, I'm really excited and very proud to say that Future Group and such a big group and business tycoon like you is one of our clients, okay? We are working for India Food Park, okay? And I just can't just demean you by saying thanks, but I would like to have a long-term relationship with India Food Park, which we are already working in Tumkur, Mr. B. Subramaniam, Vice President. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I take back the questions. Okay. Mr. Biyani, on Anu's remark, I just wanted to tell you, you are a person who speaks very candidly. And जो आता है बोल देते हैं. मतलब मैं बहुत लोगों से
think so. I don't think so.
Or do you measure what you say?
I do. I think there is a space between stimulus and response. It's called Vivek.
हाँ.
And वो है.
But also, no, so what I'm driving at is that...
But dialogue होता है. I think it should not be ever taken in literal meaning.
Yeah.
अब गंगा नहाएगा क्या? अभी now that has no meaning at all. And it was not meant for particularly anyone.
No, why I'm saying is that most leaders and most people who get in front of media or an audience, and this is again for entrepreneurs in terms of, are still mindful.
I would assume most of the people are hypocrites.
हाँ, वो तो है.
तो दिखाएंगे के दांत अलग, अंदर अलग, हम जो भी है सामने ना जैकेट पहनते हैं ना सूट पहनते हैं, जो है वो यही है.
Yeah, and that is very admirable about you. That's what I'm driving at, is that this authenticity, I think that has not left you in the last 20 years,
But I
right?
think the day we change that, we'll not be able to understand our customers. Because how can I create a differentiation between me and my customers?
But do you
Our whole job is to keep on understanding our customers.
But do you sometimes feel bad, especially in the media, and if people react to something that you say is
I think media has a
misconstrued?
job to do. I don't think so. They are looking at headlines and sometimes they get headlines. जब आप इतनी बात करते हैं तो एक आध headline तो बनती है.
And you're fine with that, right?
I think even the statement which got carried out, the economist thing, I think a lot of media carried it unbelievably well. I was surprised. The Economic Times and the Business Standard carried the entire comment. They didn't only look at it in isolation.
Yeah.
So in fact, I was surprised that media was so responsible.
Now, if you have a much intelligent question, then you ask.
Hi, Mr. Kishore, sir, this side.
Yeah, this side, yes.
It's a pleasure listening to you. I'm Arpit from IDG Ventures. Like you mentioned, you've been involved in consumer businesses across various dimensions. So what would be your single point advice for the next generation entrepreneurs who are looking to build consumer businesses? And what is it differently they can do, learning from the last 1 year that has happened?
I'll just give you a little bit of perspective on India. If you look at India's economy, we are nearly a $3 trillion economy, and we are growing at the rate of 7.5% a year, which is adding up to $100 billion of new economy every year, out of which $70-80 billion of economy is a consumption economy every year. And that's a huge economy. It's kind of $400 billion of new economy every 5 years. You can't get a larger place than that. And if you're not, I think for an entrepreneur, to find a space here and get something doing in the consumer space, I think is a fantastic opportunity. And everybody should seize that opportunity.
Do you really think everyone needs to be a Banya or a Biyani to make up the startup work?
I will answer that, no.
I think you need to be a Bansal out here, yeah.
Mr. Biyani, we are running out of time. I'm taking a last commitment from you because I heard it from Dipayan also कि आपने बहुत ज़्यादा investments किए हैं startups में. अभी हम लोग winter feel कर रहे हैं. We have heard so much about winter. आप हमें warm कीजिए. Please invest in food, home, and fashion. And all the startups, because there are a lot of fashion and consumer startups here, please interact
and
with
don't
them.
expect great valuations from us.
But definitely, please look at them. We will all benefit from your advice and from your support. Thank you so much. It's a great honor. Let's give a standing ovation to Mr. Biyani for being very honest. Great honor, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Furniture is a $20 billion kind of a company where the organized part of it is just about 10-15%. You know, most of it are those carpenters, small stores. So I think what all players are trying to do is build brands in this category.
From 2005 to 2012, we grew on our cash flows. The value of that cash flows, was very high. We actually grew on our cash flows. We used to get bookings for December. In October, sit on the money for 2 months, put it in marketing, not sit on it, put it in marketing, grow the business, and then right in time pay off to hotels.